Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot, with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. I want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Should these messages happen to resonate with you, it would truly mean the world to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. If you are truly new here, we do things completely differently around here, so I suggest strapping in, hanging on, and you and I are going to find out together. Today we are asking, why are people intimidated by you? This is kind of piggybacking the last pick a card that I did, which is, what do people find impressive about you? But I recognized in that reading there was a lot of intimidation as well as that being impressed by you. And so if you haven't caught that reading, it doesn't matter which order you watch them in, but I'd highly suggest checking out that reading as well if you feel called to it. And if not, this is absolutely a standalone reading. But I am choosing the Lantern Oracle to use today by Angelina Mirabito, I think is how you say this. This is an absolutely incredible deck to work with. It is very blunt and very honest, which I love, and I'm just so glad it's a newer deck that I received, and I'm just so glad that I can use this one today. But with that, let's hop to your prayer and get this reading underway and see what comes through. Alright, my beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come onto this reading, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. It's kind of fun to think that we might be intimidating to other people, but also knowing that that is a part of our emotional ego that's coming through. Reminding ourselves that true power is self-mastery. It's not mastery over others. It's not making others feel bad about what they did to us. It's not even proving ourselves to others. It truly comes from a place of proving ourselves to ourselves. And always remembering that everything outside of us is simply a mirror to the things that might be hidden deep within our own psyche. So of course this reading is always just for fun, but also those reminders that we need, may they come through clearly. May your messages bring forth those inner standings that we have that are truth, and reminding us of just how truly powerful we are without needing to be intimidating towards others or leaning on that intimidation as a way to be seen or heard in the world. It's easy to do, and it's easy to come into this place of letting the emotional ego run us because we've done that for so long. But also knowing that with these messages, when we seek deeper understanding and understanding, that the truth will be revealed. And today I ask that you bring that truth through for us, no matter what it is, no matter how it is received, reminding those that if they're ready to hear it, it will be a seed that's planted upon their heart, whether that's a seed that sprouts in this moment or a seed that sprouts later on. May this also confirm what my tribe has been feeling about themselves, so that they can truly focus on their strengths and let go of what are perceived weaknesses, and reminding themselves that focusing on these strengths help us to stay in that positive light and that constant reminder that we are worthy, we are deserving, we are truly amazing. As these words are spoken upon this tribe on this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. All right. So Source, what Lantern Oracle cards today are going to help us better understand why people are intimidated by my fellow humans? Why are people intimidated by my fellow humans? Why are people intimidated by my fellow humans? What would you like to share with us today, Source? What messages do you have for us? Thank you. Why are people intimidated by my fellow humans? Alright, so for pile number 1, Source, what Lantern Oracle card will help us better understand why people are intimidated by pile number 1? Why are people intimidated by pile number 1? Why are people intimidated by pile number 1? I feel a bit of a resistance with you, pile number 1, coming out already. That's alright, though. Let's see what's coming out for pile number 2. So, Source, for pile number 2, what Lantern Oracle card is going to help us better understand why people are intimidated by pile number 2? Pile number 3, Source, what Lantern Oracle card will help us better understand why people are intimidated by pile number 3? Why are people intimidated by pile number 3? Okay. Thank you. On the bottom, we have number 31 with intention. Lacking personal direction, regret begets confusion, and life is as a pawn to someone else's game of chess. So why do people find my collective intimidating? It's because people who find you intimidating are people who don't have a sense of direction in their life. Like, they don't know where they're going, right? They don't know what they want. They don't know what they're going to do in their life, or they're just kind of floating on by, hoping that things will work out for them. And when they're not, they're sitting there like, well, how is it working for you, but it's not working for me? It's this confusion that's overtaking them. And so because you have a plan, or because you're working on a plan, you're working towards a goal, it's a mirror back to them for how little they're doing for themselves. And it's creating a lot of resistance for them. It's creating a lot of triggers for them as well. Let's see what this says from the book. 31. Betrayal, heartbreak, and bewilderment follow the choices we allow others to make for us, or that we make for ourselves without clarity, deliberation, and conscious intentions toward what we most value. When we prioritize what is of greatest meaning and significance to us with conviction and integrity, we successfully cultivate an internal state of abundant positivity, worthiness, and standards that our external lives eventually mirror back to us. Was I just saying that? Mirror back to us, right? Or we're a mirror to them, they're a mirror to us. So no matter what, we're still mirroring each other, and there's always something that can be taken from that mirroring. This card signifies a time to clarify your priorities that uncover your core values. Any choice clashing with those priorities, whether conscious or not, are where you give away your power. They are instances where someone or something else is in control. Unless you can reframe it to work according to the beautiful vision you have for your life, the featured guardian supports you in getting out of the situation or dynamic and reclaiming your power and autonomy. To know and own your value, your values, your plans, and your non-negotiables is essential. It honors the pure source in both yourself and others to consistently act with transparency regarding your objectives. Examine the main aspects of your life, or what you wish were part of main aspects of your life. Perhaps it is helpful to visualize your life as a pizza, and each slice is an aspect of it. Name each aspect of your life, such as intimate relationships, career, studies, spirituality, family, friends, health, home, passions, leisure, or travel. Write down your long-term vision for each aspect. If there is no long-term vision, simply make notes on what constitutes that slice of your life at present, or would constitute it if it were present. Note whether you are functioning from a place of fear or love, passivity or confidence, confusion or purpose, lack of or abundance for each. Helpful questions for illuminating this is, what is my motivation and reason for doing or not doing blank in this way? Highlight the aspects coming from a place of love. Cross out what is misaligned with your intention. Put a square shape around what does not light you up. Okay, so it says, when you are ready, you are encouraged to pay attention to the heart shapes around your fears, the things you love. Okay? And then these are just journal exercises. It says the guardian's message is to live with intention, is to live deliberately. Being the master of yourself yields great power, purpose, and responsibility. Self-sovereignty is your divine right and not to be given away or compromised. So you're living deliberately, or you're choosing to live deliberately, and that's why the collective energy, the intimidation from other people. There's a deliberate way to all your actions. You're doing things based on a set of plans and goals that you've had, maybe for a short amount of time, maybe for a long time, but all of those plans and goals are what are moving you to take action and to take intentional action in your life, albeit imperfect action as well. And that's scary. You're building a foundation based on that, and that's scary to those who are not doing anything with their life at present. All right, so let's see what we've got going on here. All right, so okay, for pile number 1, we do have this green aventurine for you to choose from. And for pile number, and also this dice with Mars on it. Okay. And pile number 2, we do have this bloodstone for you to choose from. We have this dice with Uranus on it. And pile number 3, we have this beautiful rose quartz for you to choose from. We have this dice with the sun on it. Okay. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the pile for you. With that, I will see you over on your chosen pile. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of green aventurine, if you were drawn to this dice with Mars on it, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on why are people intimidated by you. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. If you are truly new here, we do things a lot differently here on this channel, so I suggest that you strap in, hang on, and we'll find out together. And if the messages resonate along the way, it would truly mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe down below. With that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out, Source, why do people find pile number 1 intimidating? What would you like to share with us today? Why do people find pile number 1 intimidating? What would you like to say? Why do people find pile number 1 intimidating, Source? So we've got the 2nd house, we've got Sagittarius energy, and Jupiter. Wow. You are incredibly abundant, and it might not be monetary abundance. This could be spiritual abundance. This could be physical abundance, like, you know, good looking body, good looking face, like you have beautiful eyes, you have beautiful hair, you have beautiful teeth, right? There's is also, you live a life of luxury, like, or you like very luxurious things. And that could be that maybe you like to wear a certain type of brand all the time, or and it doesn't have to be something that's extravagant. You know, you don't have to be buying Gucci or anything like that. You could just want to wear a certain type of brand that you like, that makes you feel good, like Michael Jordan's or even Adidas. It could be just Adidas, right? Adidas are still classy, right? So anyways, I feel like there's this energy where they're intimidated by you because you look very luxurious. You look, even if you're just in some rundown clothes or you're in your PJs or whatever, like you still look very luxurious, like you're very well taken care of. And you give off this energy of being super abundant. So even if it's not about your looks for you, like you don't really care about how you look, you just throw on whatever and are heading out, which a lot of people do, right? And it's just you give off a very abundant spirit, abundance of laughter, abundance of fun, abundance of adventure, the life of the party. Like, people want to be in your energy, but it's also intimidating. Is if somebody wants to approach you and you're surrounded by a lot of people, but they're an introvert or they're very shy, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, like I don't think I can approach pile number 1 because they're not even going to notice who I am. Now for you, pile 1, I do feel like you are someone who's very present with everyone that comes into your energy. You're there giving them your time and attention, but you also are present with that person at that time rather than just flitting around from person. You know how when you talk in a group of people, there's always the people who they get their attention stolen away so easily by others, instead of saying, hey, I know you want to talk to me, but let me finish my conversation with this person first. And I feel like that's you. You're the person who says, I'd love to talk with you. Let me finish what I was talking to this person about first. And that is also intimidating because it means that people can't steal away your attention when they want to, right? Like, there's just no me coming in and distracting you and then suddenly I'm the center of pile number 1's attention, because you're very aware and very clear about wanting to discuss and be present with people. And we have people who are driving really fast in the park. I'm sorry, there was just a Jeep that drove and he almost hit one of the guys that was walking, and just random. Just a totally random situation. Not random at all. I don't really believe in randomness, but maybe that's what's it. Like, you're very easygoing, right? Because the guy that's walking with the cart, he's just very easygoing. Like, he just seemed like he was just living his best life. And then there's other people who are trying to intimidate you because you're so intimidating, right? It's like, oh, I have the louder car, or I'm the louder person, or I have the louder clothes, or so it's like you're intimidating, but other people are trying to intimidate you, and you're completely unfazed by it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was, I don't know if it caught the horn beeping in the background or not. It was not very loud because it was right in front of the RV, but it was still heard it. I still heard it. Alright, we're going to use my Tarot Marseille today and find out. So, Source, why are people intimidated by pile number 1? Spill the beans, Source. Tell us what's going on. Why are people intimidated by pile number 1? Why are people intimidated by pile number 1, Source? What would you like to share with us today? Why are people intimidated by pile number 1? Okay, thank you. Yeah, you're a very confident person. You're also very secretive at times, and that's intimidating too. Like, being mysterious is intimidating. And so I do feel like you're very mysterious, but you might not feel like you're mysterious. You might be like, no, I'm completely an open book. Like, I don't know why people think I'm mysterious, but you seem mysterious. And that could be because you're, you still have stories you're not sharing. You still have things that you're not telling, and you still have things that are going on around you that you're, obviously not going to spill to everybody, because why would you, right? So, interesting. On the bottom of the deck, yeah, we have the Four of Coins in the reverse. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. They're intimidated by you because they've seen you at your worst. So some of these people know you. They know what you've been through. They know what it is that you've experienced. And they've seen you at your worst, where you had no stability, whether that was in life or whether that was, with finances or whatever. They've seen you at this place of where you were maybe asking others for help or depending on others for help. And it's intimidating now because they don't know what's actually going on with you, but you're able to take care of things now. You're not asking for people's help anymore. You're not begging for help, is how they took it. Not that you were begging, but that's how they took it, that you were begging for help. And because now you're able to take care of yourself, they're having a hard time facing this. They're having a hard time facing the fact that you're building something when they believed that you weren't going to. They believed that you were always going to depend on them. So this, like I was saying, I kept getting that feeling that this is people that you've known. This could be family, this could be friends, this could be exes, ex-lovers, this could be kids, this could be, somebody it could be coworkers even. Right? But there's this energy that's coming in where it's like, oh no, pile one, they're always going to be dependent on someone else to take care of them because they don't know how to take care of themselves. And so that's something that they never wanted to come to terms with, is that you have the potential to make your dreams a reality. And it's intimidating because you're making your dreams a reality. These people really thought that you would always stay stuck in your head. Yeah, look at that. We begin with the Queen of Wands here. You are very intelligent. You're very clear about your boundaries, which I was feeling with the dice. That, people can't just steal your attention away, or people can't just distract you. You're very clear about, I have things I have to take care of. I have this I have to focus on. I have this that I have to, put my energy towards, and until then I won't be able to give you what you're asking for, and maybe even then I won't still be able to give you what you're asking for, but I will be present with you. And you're very, very good looking. You have good looks for you, and we got that with the dice reading as well. The Six of Swords in the reverse, and Death, or what you know as Death, which is the nameless card in the Tarot Marseille in reverse. People are intimidated by you because they broke allies with you. There's somebody here who broke an ally with you. They thought you were dead weight. And now the ball is in your court. And it actually has been in your court since this person ended things with you, whatever it was. And it could have been a relationship. I do feel like this is more like a coworker or someone that you were trying to build something with along the way. It could be a friend. But I do feel like it doesn't really feel like lover's energy to me. This feels like more of a friendship, acquaintanceship type situation. And this person broke allyship, the ally with you. They were like, nope, I don't want to deal with pile number one. I don't want to go there. And in doing so, they really did leave things, they left things in a terrible state. Like, I feel like this is like being kicked out, or maybe this was somebody that you were asking for help and they helped you, but only with the purpose of making themselves feel better about themselves or to seem a certain way. And then things got too difficult for them and they realized they didn't want to do this anymore. And so they kicked you out, or they made you feel really bad, or they told you that they were not going to help you anymore. And now they're realizing this painful truth that you were always destined for greatness. And, you know, and greatness doesn't have to be worldwide fame. It could just be success or stability. You know, being seen as someone who's incredibly powerful, because you are. And that's why this person, it does feel like one person in particular, but it could be a group of people. They're intimidated by you. And they're having a lot of anxiety about what they did. They don't really feel remorse. They're not remorseful for what they did. They just have a lot of anxiety about what they did, because they feel like, oh my gosh, you know, pile number one, they're going to make it big, and they're going to have all these things, and they're going to come back, and they're going to rub it in my face. And I feel like you're just done. I feel like you just checked out. You're like, okay, well, they showed me who they were, so I'm just moving on, because why am I going to hold on? Why are we going to keep rehashing old crap? Like, you know, like, why? But this is someone who was really in a place where they thought that if they created chaos or drama, that it would lead to better things. And instead of you fighting, you just stepped away. And that shocked them, because no one's ever done that before. No one's ever just stepped away from them. And they really believed you were going to keep holding on to these old patterns. So this is someone who's seen you have repeat cycles in your life, and they believed that you were always going to keep living in those repeat cycles. They did not believe that you would outgrow those repeat cycles, but yet here you are, you're outgrowing them, you're moving on, and you're creating a better life for yourself. Libra, balance. Yeah, we have consideration, fairness, and harmony. Yeah, I do feel like you've weighed out the situation here. You're incredibly aware of what's going on in this situation. So with me telling you this, I believe that you know exactly who I'm talking about in this reading. And you're very aware of where they're at on their journey, and you're unbothered by it, because that's their journey, and you're focusing on you because you spent time focusing on them and it didn't get you anywhere. And now the tables are turning, where things are balancing out in your favor, and you're being seen as this very powerful, strong individual. You could be an Aries, an Aquarius, a Libra, a Scorpio, or Capricorn. You could have Sagittarius highly aspect in your chart, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius and Jupiter, Sagittarius in the second house, in the sixth house, in the 12th house, Capricorn Venus. I'm hearing Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, but also Aries in the 11th house, and Aries North or South Node. Interesting. Trine. Yeah, exactly. We have Trine on the bottom with angelic support, harmony, and perfect flow. You're getting divine assistance here. It's like you paid your dues, whatever your dues were, right? And no one's free from the suffering of life. We all have to go through it. And it's not that we're necessarily experiencing karma. Sometimes life just is going to keep lifing, and we all get caught up in that. And it's not because we did anything. It's just because that's what's happening around us. But I feel like through all of that, whatever dues you had to pay, if there were any dues, you've done that. Right? And you've been through a lot. And because of that, now you're getting angelic support and moving on to the next level for yourself. And seeing a breakthrough in the journey, right? Finally seeing something balancing out here. Okay, I guess you're getting two of these. On the bottom, we have dream and journey. Yeah. So why people are intimidated by you, or why this specific person is intimidated by you, is because you're building a dream. That's been your journey all along, and you've never given up on that dream. You continued doing it long after they had given up on their own dream. This person would never match your resilience nor your resolve for creating something in life, and that is very intimidating to them. And they don't know how to ask you how you did what you did, because they're too proud. Right? They're just stuck in their old ways. Yeah, you make it seem effortless with waterfall coming out here. Even though you've been through some really bad stuff, even though this person may have put you through some really bad stuff, you make the hard things seem effortless and you overcome them without worry, without fear. Like, you just relying on your faith and trusting that source is going to get your back, and knowing that sometimes we have to deal with hard things in order to get to the good things, right? We have to know what the sour tastes like so we can enjoy the sweet. Why does it make me think of the Sour Patch Kids? Is that what it is? Sometimes they're sour and sometimes they're sweet, and it's like they steal the headphones from each other, and they're like, the guys are like, what the heck, you're stealing my headphones, but then they put the headphones in the opposite people, and it ends up to be this like ridiculously good mix and this amazing song, and they both get up and they jam. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, right? But that's what it is. It's like, at first you're like, what the heck, universe? Like, what the heck, source? What you got going on here? And then source is like, don't worry, I got you. And then all of a sudden this bad A beat falls on you, and you're jamming to the best life you ever had, and you made it seem effortless. Like, you never got distorted in your reality. You just kept moving forward with it, and that's why why people find you intimidating. Yeah, unfoldment. You made it through the mud and the muck. You grew through the mud and the muck. It was a part of the growth for you, and you embraced that part of your journey. It's like, even when things were at the low, right? At the lowest possible low, you never gave up. You still showed up. You still did what you needed to do. And that's why people are intimidated by you, because you made all of that seem like it was easy. And now the tides are turning in your favor. The scale is tipping in your favor, right? Things are working for you. And I feel like you're beginning to see the fruit of your efforts. And it is coming in very quickly. If not yet, it will be soon. But I feel like that's why people are intimidated by you, is because you make manifestation seem like it's a no-brainer. And I feel like for you, you're like, yeah, I wish it was a no-brainer, but there was a lot I had to go through to get to this point to learn. Our reliability with GOAT. That's the other thing that people find very intimidating about you, is that you're loyal and you're very reliable. Like, people can rely on you, and especially if people have got it good with you, you're like a rock in their lives. But if they don't, you'll crumble away and you'll move on to the next town, because you're not holding back. You're like, we don't play it like that no more. We're out of here. But if people got you and you got them, you're a rock in their lives. And you're reliable, and you stand up for them, and you're always there for them, and they can count on you. And I feel like whoever this is kicking themselves in the rear end, because they're like, man, I could have had it good with pile number one. Like, what was I thinking? Well, at the end of the day, truly, they were only thinking about themselves, because they never considered that you would actually be successful, because they didn't believe in you like that. And no true friend would be like that with each other, right? Like, a true friend would be like, hey, I don't get what you're doing, but I got you, right? Like, I believe in you. If you believe you can do it, I know you can do it. And, like, I'm going to cheer you on. But that's not how this person was. Be peace. Yeah, the dove. And that's the other thing that I feel like it's very intimidating from you, is that you're just unbothered. You're unbothered by how people show up. Like, if people come at you all crazy and sideways, you're just, okay, cool. Like, if that's how you want to show up, like, do you, boo. Do you, because whatever, and you're unbothered by it, and that's very intimidating. We've got gambler on the bottom. Yeah, you took a risk with your life. It says willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. Exactly what I was just saying. Like, they're like, oh, I could have had it in good with pile number one, but they doubted you, but they didn't even try to, be the friend that's like, wow, I really don't know. I don't know about that. Like, I really wish you the best, but no, they just didn't even. They were like, nope, you're never going to do that. And they're seeing you succeed. Right, in the shadows, relying on luck rather than hard work. And I feel like this person believes that that's exactly what you did, was relied on luck. But it wasn't. It was a very intuitive move for you. And there's this energy that's coming in. It's like, I'm intimidated, because they know you're very intuitive. They know that you're very psychic. You're very gifted and connected. And they may have tried to make you doubt that at some point too, to doubt your connection. Yeah, we have last quarter moon, tie up loose ends. Yeah, you did not hesitate to cut this person out when the time needed to come. You were ready to move on. You're like, I'm done with this. I can't put the effort into this anymore. Loneliness. Wow. You know, this song, I was going to say, this image makes me think of that song. It's an old song. I think it's from like the 80s. Like, we are the people. I don't know. Is it a Michael Jackson song? I think it's in Free Willy. It's at the very end of Free Willy or something like that. Yeah, I'm throwing it back, okay? Like, we're throwing it back. Free Willy! Anyways, that's what this image makes me think of. It's like this connection. We are the people. We are the world. Like, we're all connected. And you believe that. And it's like, even with this person, you believe that there's a connection there for the reason. We're always going to be connected. But just because we're always connected doesn't mean that I have to give in to that or that I have to feel a certain way. And this person may be very lonely right now. I know that I'm never alone here. It says, and I feel like for you, you're just very trusting of your team. A lot of blues here. You're very much speaking your truth as well. And you're helping people who maybe haven't done anything to earn your help, but because you're driven by compassion. And I feel like this person misses that from you, misses that you were helping them or you were always there for them. Self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Yeah, you're a very confident person, and that's very intimidating. Like, this person, they feel like, oh, well, yeah, if I was pile one, maybe I'd be that confident too. Or they would be like, if I was pile one, I would never be as confident as they are, right? There's just this energy where they just don't feel like they could ever get to your level. And they probably won't ever get to your level because they're too busy comparing themselves. We have the Sage. Be devoted and committed. Exactly. Your faith. They're very intimidated by your faith. Lord, take charge with authority and your ability to command attention. We got that with the dice reading, right? How you're very much always people want to be noticed by you. People want to be in your energy. They want to be around you, talking to you. Powerful with the Deer. You're very powerful energy. You have a very, very powerful energy. And I believe I said that at the beginning too. With number 11 here, you're very spiritual as well. And your spirituality can be very intimidating to people. You know, like, spirituality can be very intimidating to a lot of people. It can be intimidating to the faithlessness. And it can be intimidating to the ones that are faithful as well. Because if they're in an organized religion, and maybe you're very religious too, right? And so there's like these different waves that come, but it's like, if you're religious and you're faithful, but you trust that faith, you're not just hoping that it's right. And I know you know what I'm talking about, pile one, right? You're not just hoping that this is real and I'm just going to do what people tell me and I'm going to hope, but you've experienced faith firsthand. You've experienced having faith in the divine, and the divine has come through for you firsthand. You saw that, and you're not just hoping for it. You believe it with your heart of hearts. You believe that it's real. You believe that prayer is real. You believe that trusting in the process is real. Like, it's all these things that you believe is real, and it's through the trials that you've experienced in your life. And that's where a lot of your power comes from. And so I feel like if there's people out there that are faithless, they are very intimidated by you because they don't understand how, you know, maybe they're very religious and you're spiritual. They're like, how is someone who's so spiritual have so much more faith than I do? And it's because you've experienced what faith is firsthand, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, what our denomination is or what we choose to believe in doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is our faith. Ultimately, that's the only thing that matters, but they don't teach faith. Because faith is something that you have to figure out for yourself, and you have to ask those questions that are going to get you there. And you've done that, and you've leaned into it. Look, we've got to be fearless and bold. Yes, you are fearless, and you're very bold. This very powerful energy that you have. We have the Athlete here. Dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps. Development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. So your strength of spirit is very intimidating. People find that very intimidating. We have the Shadows. Misuse of athletic abilities for selfish ends. False sense of invulnerability and entitlement. So there's a lot of people here who feel entitled to what you have, which that happens a lot in some of these readings. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, people really believe that they earned it more than you, but they don't know what it is that you've been through. And You know, that's neither here nor there. It's just a belief that kind of gets filtered around because people really believe that they've had the worst of the worst life experience, and that gives them the right to be entitled to someone else's freedoms or someone else's abundance. And that's not really the way that life works, right? And I love it because I love, one of my favorite shows in the world is Ninjago. Lego Ninjago. I love Lego Ninjago. I've watched it, I can't tell you how many times, but in season 8, no, I believe it's actually season 9, when Wu, they went back in time, and Sensei Wu, he becomes a baby, and he's starting to grow up, and he's starting to remember his memories, and he's dreaming of where he's with his dad and his brother Garmadon. And his dad, which is the Spinjitzu master, right? And so his dad, they never show his face. They're sitting in a boat, and Garmadon is yelling he takes the last fish, or the last worm, and Wu says, "That's not fair. He got the last fish. He always gets the last fish." And the Spinjitzu master says, "What is fair? There is only faith." And Wu stopped and thought about it, and he cast his line out without a worm, and like 2 seconds later he caught a fish, and Garmadon now is mad, and he's like, "That's not fair. He caught a fish. Why can't I catch a fish?" And the Spinjitzu master said the same thing again. It's not about fair. There's only faith. And it's just such a good line. Like, that's the truth though. It's like, what is fair? There's only faith. And that's what I feel like that's intimidating about you, is that your faith is so intimidating. Midhaven, mind your reputation. Yeah, you're an incredibly popular person. Even if you don't feel like you're very popular, you appear to be incredibly popular with people. And it's all because of you truly leaning into your authentic energy time and time again. And I feel like you're always building that too. Like, you're always learning more about yourself and letting that be the guide for you. And that's creating even more popularity in your life, whether you want it or not, right? So that's definitely something that people find intimidating. And look how big your energy is. Look at how big this character is, taking up the whole card, right? Your energy is just massive. It spreads out farther than you. Your aura touches a lot of people when you walk around. Let's check out what your card is. I'm going to read this from the book. Enough. You were born enough. Look at this. So you feel like you're good enough to receive what you want, and that's intimidating. That's why people find you intimidating, because you feel like you're good enough. You feel like you deserve it. You go out of your way to do what's necessary in order to deserve it, right? Like, and it's not about being or doing something. It's about becoming yourself, and you do that. It says, throughout life, we grow either toward or away from embodying our spirit, capital S self. The direction away from our spirit self is often poorly compensated with a false identity that further weakens our power, autonomy, and authenticity. Even amongst apparent success, such pretenses further stifle us from within. A life constructed from self-compromise and erasure will shatter from the outside, much like a mansion built on a hollow foundation will crumble. It can be no other way. Like the featured mother, no one deliberately compromises themselves. For most, this is an inherited pattern that results as a mindless reenactment of one's upbringing. An upbringing that included neglect, abuse, or lack of resources may have not been nurtured a secure sense of self, inherent lovability, appropriate boundaries, and confidence. The featured mother is an example of someone who has not always known her worth or how to live with integrity. Initially, she had no boundaries and no understanding of how to assert them or to inherent right to have them respected. She did not realize that she has always been, is, and will always be enough. Her wings need never have been locked within her back, nor need yours. It is up to the mother, like it is up to you, to keep your wings forever outstretched and ready for flight in the direction of Spirit Self's calling. Tune into an aspect of your life that does not feel right, inspiring, or true to you. The mother asks you to step up and move forward with clarity, a firm commitment to what is right for you and by you. She asks you to identify what is enough for you rather than prioritizing any desires or expectations of the outside world. From this, you will both realize and enforce your boundaries. All that you are, all that you have, and all that you do is enough. It is more than enough. The fact that you breathe is all that is ever required of you to be enough. So give yourself permission to simply be. If you're tired, do less. If you lack pleasure, do more of what brings you joy. Always be you. Breathe with your wings outspread. You are your spirit self's facilitator, not jailer. There is nothing to add, win, acquire, achieve, or improve in order to be enough. You were born enough. From this place of inherent enoughness, respect yourself and your eternal right to be all that you are by aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your spirit self. It says, Mother's message is know and honor your boundaries. Prioritize spirit self's need for authentic representation, and let those who do not respect you as you are and on your terms fall away, so that the people and opportunities that do can come in. And that's what I was saying in the beginning of this reading. I love this confirmation. It's so powerful, is that you are the person who is very present, and you recognize that, you know, like if someone's trying to steal your attention, you tell them, hey, hold on, I'm doing something else right now. I can't do this, what you're asking me to do. And so you're very present. You are very commanding with your boundaries. And if people try to step over them, like, you make it very clear, like, that's not going to work for me. And if you're not there yet, that is something that's happening. It's in the process of becoming for you. But this is why people find you very intimidating. And I do feel like this is one particular person that's coming through. But again, this could be everyone that you meet. This could be people that you know. This could be people that have been around you for some time as well. So this is what I see here for you. If you feel like this is your reading, leave the little angel wing emoji down below and say, I have, am, and always will be enough exactly as I am. And if it resonated with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all the links in the description box below in order to do so, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. With that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful message, pile number 1. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful bloodstone, or if you were drawn to this dice with Uranus on it, if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on why do people find you intimidating. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey. I am truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for anybody new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. If you are truly new here, this is, we do things completely differently here on this channel, so I just suggest strapping in, hanging on, and you and I are going to find out together. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out. Source, why do people find pile number 2 intimidating? Also, if this should happen to resonate with you, it means so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below. A source, why do people find pile number 2 intimidating? What would you like to share with us today, source? Why do people find pile number 2 intimidating? And Uranus came back out. Excellent. We've got the 6th house, Capricorn, and Uranus energy. You are someone who has specific routines that you follow that might not be intimidating to you. It's just something that you do. Like maybe you wake up every morning and the first thing you do is meditate, or you journal, or you do shadow work or something like that. You're very disciplined at those routines, and they're part of your life, right? Maybe you practice yoga every day, or you work out every day, or you sit in prayer and meditation every day. It doesn't matter. Whatever the routines are that you have created in your life, they become foundational for you. And like, even if you miss a day, like, you still always go back, right? There is no, this is not going to be a part of my life. Like, yes, of course, I'm human. I'm going to have days that I miss. I'm not a robot, but you are very consistent with your practice, and it's very unique, your practice, whatever it is. Maybe it's rituals, or maybe it's performing spell work, or maybe it is performing, you know, cleansing ceremonies, or maybe you're just doing releasing through meditation and prayer, or maybe you're manifesting, and whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, it's this sort of ritual that people have either learned about, you shared with them how to do it, you know, trying to help people, or people have asked and you've shared it with them, and people find it very unusual, but they're intimidated by it because you were so consistent with it. And there's always this wondering of, why are they so consistent with it? Why are they so disciplined with this? Is it really truly working for you? You know it's working, because otherwise you wouldn't keep doing it, right? It's something that you do because it works for you. And it's not about whether it's working for other people, but it's something that really people are sitting and wondering, like, does this really work? And that's something that's intimidating, because they don't actually know the outcome, or you haven't shared the outcome of certain things with them, and they're not sure if it's working or not. And so they're intimidated by that, because there's the potential that it is, but there's also the potential that it's not, and that you're just really good at acting the part, right? And that's coming through as well. And we all know that's not the truth, but you know how people are, they're trying to fill in the blanks, and that's what their mind is coming up with. This person just must deserve an Oscar for how well they're performing. But, you know, there's only so much you can do to convince people, and really it's not our job to convince people. They're either going to believe us or they're not. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, right? It should never phase our journey, even though in some instances it does. But people are intimidated by how dedicated you are to your craft, and that could be something you're creating. But I really feel like this is more ritualistic than anything. Even though we don't really have anything spiritually out here with the dice, it just feels very spiritual. It feels very ritualistic. This could be you know, doing moon rituals, this could be doing sun rituals, this could be doing journeying, this could be, you know, doing some sort, it's like ceremonial for you. And maybe it's not an actual ceremony, but it's something that's turned into being ceremonial for you because it's such a part of your daily routine. And this is something that people find incredibly intimidating about you, and how you are just so different. You're not like anybody else that they've ever met. And I knew it was going to come up in one of the piles. Sometimes it comes up in all threes, but so far you're the first, pile number 2. It's just how unique you are, right? How different you are. It's like, this is a part of you. You're very unusual, and you don't talk like everyone else. You don't believe things like everyone else. And that's very intimidating, because it's almost like, do I compare myself to pile number 2 because it's actually working for pile number 2? Or is me comparing myself to pile number 2 just me buying into the shenanigans, right? And that's, they're intimidating themselves, really, by trying to figure you out, because they can't put their finger on you. There's no way to say, like, oh, pile number 2 is, because you are so many different things, and yet you're none of those things all at once, right? And they're just trying to label you, and there is no label for you, because you're just you're elusive, alluring, fluid, spiritual, high vibrational. You ebb and you flow with life. You trust. You believe. And I feel like the other thing is here too, what makes you intimidating is you believe in yourself. And that's something that is rare. You know, there's not a lot of people out there who believe in themselves. And aren't arrogant either. You know what I mean? Like, there's the arrogant self-belief, which is just basically your emotional ego leading through arrogance so that other people believe that you're self-confident. And then there's the belief in self, that's real belief in self, where it's, you know, you can accomplish anything as long as you show up and do the work. And you become a different person along the way. So some of these people might know you. These might be people that you're meeting for the first time. And they've always wondered, has pile number 2 been like this their whole life? And you know that you've changed. And you know that you've changed for the better. Why are people intimidated by pile number 2, Source? What would you like to share with us? Whoa, okay, thank you. Why are people intimidated by pile number 2, Source? What would you like to share with us? Yeah, I definitely flare up a lot of anxieties within people. You know, like, they are constantly comparing themselves to you, but I feel like it's also more than that. Like, what you believe so wholeheartedly, or what you do, right? So say it's meditation. You believe in meditation so much that it starts making people question that they're doing something wrong, and that feels intimidating because you believe it so much, it's making them question their own beliefs. So this would be like if you are a witch or a warlock, right? And then you meet someone who's a Christian or who's very religious, a Catholic or a Mormon or something like that, and they've been taught their whole lives that to be a witch or a warlock is a sin. It's an awful thing, and yet you're this beautiful person. You're so kind, you're generous, you're loving, you're outgoing. You take care of the animals that are around you. You're very nurturing to the plants that are around you. You know, you're very fluid with earth and the movement of earth, and you believe in that so much that it makes them start to question their own belief and their own reality. And that is intimidating because it's like shaking a foundation that was never very solid for them. Not that it's not a solid foundation, but for them, you know, when people are just kind of like flitting on by. And there is a message like this that came out in pile number 1, but this is also a lot different than that too. It's just like you make them question themselves and they're not sure about that. Okay, so we do have this energy where there might be someone here who's coming in who was romantically interested in you. And either they had a broken heart or they broke your heart, you know, that's coming in, and they're very intimidated by you because they recognize that they could have had a longer journey with you, and that bothers them, and there's a lot of anxiety that's coming through here. The other thing is that people think that you're a heartthrob, that you are a heartbreaker, like you're only doing like succubus energy, right? Which is so silly. People are so silly sometimes. It's just like, oh my gosh, people, like, with the way of the world, it wouldn't surprise me if you piled number 2, or if you were like someone who just was not active in the sexual realm. You're probably just enjoying your best life, doing your best, you know, living your best life, doing your thing. And if that's not you, that's okay. But I just feel like you're not someone who's out there doing what everyone else is doing, right? Like, I just feel like you're someone who's very conservative in that aspect, and you're not someone who's just jumping into bed with people. You take that very serious. It's a very sacred act, but there's a lot of people out here who are intimidated by you because they feel like you're easy pickings, but that you're also someone who destroys homes and destroys people through this act of sexual, you know, connection. And I just feel like that's not you at all. This is like a story that someone has created about you because they're so insanely attracted to you, and they figure that the only reason that they're attracted to you is because maybe you put a spell on them, or maybe you did this, or maybe they're trying to fill in the blanks, right? And I feel like you probably have no idea that this person exists. Oh, that's so funny. I'm sorry about laughing because it just sucks that somebody's like thinking those things about you, but at the same time, they're gonna think what they want. But you know, it's just funny because I feel like this person, you're like the world to this person. You're all they think about. It could be one person, it could be a lot of people, but you're like on their mind all the time. And for you, you probably have no idea that any of these people exist. You're probably like, okay, and, you know. Yeah, the strength in reverse. Okay. Okay. The other thing that really freaks people out is I feel like you have dealt with your shadow side in a very unique way. And they're intimidated because things that you repressed, you're no longer repressing. And you're very vocal about those things. And you could be even vocal about those things to the people who inflicted those pains and those hurts on. Like, if this is an ex, maybe at one point, if you were still in contact with that ex, right, which happens, but at one point, or maybe you were finding this out while you were still with them, and that's why your ex is now, right? But I feel like when you figure these things out, like, you're very vocal about it, like, hey, you know, we went through this, and this mirrors this trauma that I had as a child, but this was just a reoccurring pattern of that. I realized that this is not where I want to be aligned at, and it's so blunt and in their face that they're just taken aback by it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you said that. Like, I can't believe that you think that. I can't believe that. But it's not like you weren't talking about the truth. You were saying something that was very real. It was something that was repressed for so long. It was something that was making you feel like you had no strength and nothing to give. That you were all twisted around. And that, you know, like, when people think that, like, there's fate and destiny, and some people who live by fate literally get lost in the sauce because they really believe that I have to follow this succession of really bad things, right? And there are fated meetings and stuff, but, you know, like, when it's like, oh no, it was fate that it happened, but sometimes we're a part of our own fate, and when we realize that and become conscious of that, then we take back our power and our strength and our ability to do the things that we want in life. And so that's the difference here. And I feel like this person's like, well, if you believe all that happened for a purpose, then why are you, you know, trying to control it now? And it's not about control. It never was about control for you. It's just about finding peace. But I feel like this is people who've lost grip with reality, and they're trying to fill in the blanks, and they're intimidated by you because they don't know what it is that you've done. You've changed. And there's something about you that's changed, and you're heralding in all this truth and all this realness and all this wisdom, right? This could be you being on, say you're on Facebook or Insta or even TikTok, if you make videos on TikTok or something like that, and you're just sharing truth with people, and you're sharing your truth with people, and your truth is so in-depth and profound. It leaves them completely like, what? Are you serious? And they're lost in thought and in contemplation about what it is that you've said, but their mind immediately goes back to, what did pile number 2 do? And you're just talking about wounds. You're talking about how to relieve yourself of these wounds. And I just feel like you're helping other people who want the help, right, to overcome their anxieties. But you become incredibly known to people who saw you in a very weak state, and now you're owning your strength. And it's, again, it could very well be an ex here. Yeah, and they're seeing you now so emotionally sound with the King of Cups here on the bottom. You're so emotionally mature and so stable with who you are, and you never were in that energy. Or maybe these are people who didn't know you before, and now they're seeing the you that's matured. And you being emotionally mature and wise is intimidating, especially to people who are still emotionally immature and run by their emotional ego. It can be very overwhelming to meet somebody who has healed their demons and faced their internal wounds when another person hasn't even considered looking at the mirror because they're still too busy blaming other people. So you're a very enlightened individual with an understanding of the world around you. And this is like, you are no longer holding on to things that you thought were degrading, or that you thought you had to have shame or guilt for, right? Those traumas, those wounds. And by no longer holding on to those, that's giving you a new edge to your journey and to your life and to you. That's also very intimidating because you accept parts of yourself that maybe at one point you didn't. And because you're in such a self-accepting energy, you're in this very powerful place that other people feel that. They feel that you accept their demons because you accept your own demons. Even though you don't take crap from them, it's not about that, right? But we can be in a state of acceptance of where others are because of our own self-acceptance. It means we're able to show up for as much as we give to ourselves. We can give that to others. And so no matter how dark another person is, it's like maybe they're trying to convince themselves that they are bad, that they're this or that they're that. And you still come in with this level of compassion, and it leaves them feeling intimidated because there's nothing that upsets you or upsets your peace, there's nothing that they can do that upsets your peace. And it doesn't mean that you don't lose your head sometimes, right? We all do. But they're trying to, at one point, maybe upset your peace, and they're intimidated by you because nothing is upsetting you. Nothing is switching you up off your path. We have the fixed energy flying out here with Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Stability, persistence, loyalty, and dependability. Yeah, you're very stable and grounded in who you are. You're a very loyal person. I think your loyalty shocks people. Loyalty is a rare commodity these days. And Chiron, we have hurt and heal. This explains it. You know, the wounded healer is an interesting energy, right? The wounded healer is actually us trying to heal others when we're still conscious of our wounds, but have not yet healed them. So we're still focusing on healing others. So you might be connecting with a lot of people who are the wounded healers, who are conscious of their trauma, but they're still holding the shame, the guilt, and the blame for them, those wounds, and they're not yet in that enlightened state. And you've moved on to the enlightened warrior state, where now you're very clear about what it was that you were meant to let go of. The hard things that you had to go through in life were to get you to the point that you're at today. And so the wounds are no longer what's controlling you. The emotional ego is no longer what's controlling you. You're very much in this place of awareness and understanding and innerstanding, but understanding and understanding where others are coming from as well, and giving them space to be themselves, even if they're in the wounded healer state and they're trying to convince maybe you or other people that they know what's best, right? And that's kind of that wounded healer place, is where we're trying to convince everyone that we know and no one can teach us anything. But when we become the enlightened warrior, we recognize that there's learning through all attributes of life and all aspects of life. We understand that and we can embrace that. So in the seer, wow, see beyond the current situation. Exactly. You see things. You could be very much a psychic medium, especially with the seer card here. You are also very aware of where people are at energetically, and that is intimidating. They're not sure how you know. Like, how does pile number 2 know these things? How are they aware that I'm, depressed, or that I'm grieving, or that I'm sad, or that I'm upset about something that happened a millennia ago, And you just are very aware because you're constantly tapping into your intuition. You're constantly tapping into your guides. Especially with judgment here, right? You're tapping into the ethers, and you're retrieving messages from the ether and speaking that into existence. And I feel like if you give messages on, social media, many of your messages actually resonate with a lot of people, even if they don't comment on it or even if they don't say anything. There's a lot of people who are observing what you're saying because it's resonating, and they're feeling very intimidated by the fact that how could something that's so general resonate with me so much when I feel like I'm so ostracized and that I'm alone in the world. And that's intimidating. Yeah, rebirth. You've had this huge rebirth. That's what I was feeling earlier. Like, there's people here who've seen you go through this transformation, but they didn't see you go through the transformation. You left, and then you came back, and you were an entirely different person. And they're like, wait, hold on, what? Wait. We need to go back. What was pile number 1 doing? What was pile number 2 doing? What were they doing that changed? Like, how did they get to where they're at? And, you had to go and take care of business. And you did that. And now you're very prosperous. But also with this image, right, with the red dot over the third eye, your prosperity comes from your intuition. Your abundance comes from your intuition. You're a very intuitive person. Didn't I say that at the beginning? There's something about your spirituality or your yeah, I think I said I don't have any spiritual dice, but I really did feel like at the beginning there was something about spirituality here for you, pile number 2. Yeah, it was just feeling like that. So strong. Okay. Thank you for that confirmation, source. We've got Bobcat. Life is a mystery. Yeah, you're a mystery, and that's intimidating. People find that intimidating about you. You're very mysterious. Didn't I say that too at the beginning? But you're like an open book. You're like, no, I'm not really like that. I'm an open book. I think I said that. It could have been on pile 1, but I think it was on your pile. I'm not sure. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, you're a mysterious person. We have lover. Okay, so confirming that this could be an ex that's coming through for some of you, not all of you, but for some of you, this could be an ex, or an ex is included in this group of people. We have great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something, and the shadow is obsessive passion that harms others and self-destructive devotion. Yeah, so they're recognizing if this is an ex that's coming through, they're seeing that they could have had something more with you, but they dropped the ball. Look, that's on them. You showed up, you were ready to grow, then they weren't, and you can't change that sometimes, right? So that's why sometimes we have to leave. It's not even about necessarily cutting them out permanently if you're still friends with that person or whatever, but sometimes we just recognize that we deserve something better. If what we're asking for and they're not aligned with that, we have to move on to something that's more aligned with us, right? We have cusp. Break on through, babe. Yeah, so you've definitely broken through something here. And I feel like that was a block. I feel like that was something that was keeping you in a small mindset, in a poverty mindset, in a lack place. We have indecision coming out. It flipped out of the deck. We have I use my intuition in all aspects of life. Another confirmation. Maybe you were very indecisive when you knew this person. And now you're very decisive. You know exactly what you want in life. And they feel like they missed the boat. Why do you hear that? Rock the boat, baby, rock the boat. I don't know who sings that song, but that's what's coming in right now. So, yeah, I feel like you were at one point very indecisive, and now that you're very decisive because you trust your intuition, that also mirrors back to others, and that feels very intimidating, especially if they're in a state of indecision in their own life. Growth, exactly. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. So the biggest thing that's been so intimidating, or what people find intimidating about you, is your growth has been exponential. And maybe you were gone for a short amount of time, but I feel like many of you were gone for a really long time. And of course, when you came back, you would be different, but you're so vastly different. And it doesn't seem that way to you because you were with you every day, right? So you notice you're different when you look back and you're like, yeah, I'm not the same person I was last year. You know, like I'm a totally different person now, but I feel like for you, it's not that big of a gap because you were experiencing the shifts as they happen. But for everyone else, you're just an entirely different individual altogether. They don't even know who you are anymore. We have protection, guardian. Drop your shields. Yeah, I do feel like there's this sense coming through that you're being very vulnerable and very open about the things that you experienced in life. You know, like the hardships that you went through and maybe the betrayals that you experienced, but you're also giving wisdom with it. You're not saying like, it's not like complaining about it, like, oh my gosh, this was my life. You're just saying, you know, I went through this, and this is what I learned from it. And that's intimidating to people because they don't feel like they're at that level where they can learn valuable lessons from the hardships that they went through. Purification, rain. Yeah, you're a different person. You purified yourself. And no one knows what you did. But coming back to that energy, no one knows what you did. They don't know how you did it. They're like, what the heck? Pile number 2 left, and now they're this whole different person. They're completely changed, and it might not be that big of a deal for you because, again, you were with yourself every day, but for them, they're just seeing an entirely new person. And no one's reached out to get to know you on a deeper level because they are intimidated by you, because they feel like you're going to see through them. And with the seer here on the bottom of the deck, that's exactly what you've done in the past. But now you're so tapped in and in tune with it, they know there's no pulling the wool over your eyes. Where maybe before you were in people-pleasing energy and they were able to pull the wool over your eyes, right? But now there is no, because you're the one that has the wool over your eyes so that you can sense with your senses, with your intuition, with your third eye. Equality, the seahorse. You may talk about equality for people who have done you wrong and people who have been good to you. Like, they may be on equal terms for you, which is like, it's a person is a person, a person, a person, right? And we all have things to go through, and you might talk about this equality even in turbulent times. And people find it hard to see that for themselves. They're like, how is it that pile 2 is so pure How is it that they're so gentle and kind-hearted? How is it that they're not mad about XYZ? And it's because you did so much healing, your shadow work, right? We talked about that. Your shadow work is on the next level here. And doing that, you've integrated as well. And integration of that shadow work has left you with an understanding of life that not many people achieve because they're not ready and willing to do the work. They don't want to look in the mirror. So nothing is wasted. Exactly. So with the vulture spirit here, it's talking about that. Like, there's no bad thing in life. Everything happens. And as long as I see it happening for me, then I can use that to my benefit and my highest good. And that's exactly what you've done. You've used every hardship that's in your life, and somehow you're using that to make your life better. You're using that to make your life more abundant and more free. While at the same time, I do feel like you might be helping others. Even if you're not aware of that, I do feel like you are helping others, or that's your ultimate goal, is to help others. Share your story and help others. Beggar. Wow, we have confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. That is a beautiful sentence for you. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. The shadow's dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. So the thing is that you've been in some really difficult situations that maybe people thought that you were going to struggle and you were always going to stay struggling, but you've used those situations as a gateway or a portal to awaken your higher self, to awaken your spirit, to awaken your consciousness. And it's never stopped for you. There's like this continual growth that's constantly going on for you, and continual integration. So it's like, I feel like shadow work, maybe you've resigned to the fact, or you've surrendered to the fact, I should say, that shadow work is going to be a part of your life forever. And that's okay. Like, you're totally okay with that. Even though sometimes it's incredibly difficult, it also holds so much value for you. And that shadow work is actually the thing that scares people the most. And that's what people find intimidating about you, is that integration of shadow. You see yourself as a whole being, while so many other people see themselves as fragmented bits of self. Mother. Nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. And the shadow is smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. We have this compassion here and this loving energy that's coming from the mother archetype. And this is talking about how no matter what you've been through, you're still this kind person. You're still this loving person. And that is intimidating, because I feel like there's people here who know that they did you dirty, and they're recognizing the role that they played in your life. And yet for you to still come through with this compassion, it's intimidating, because they realize they never broke you. Maybe they tried to break you. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they weren't trying to hurt you. They were just playing out old patterns. But no matter what it was, you treat all of it the same. You recognize that people have their own things that they're going through, and you're seeing that as, you know what, you're going to figure it out. And if you don't, that's on you. It's not on me. But it doesn't mean that I have to sit here and constantly blame you and stay in contempt because of what happened between us. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to forget. Why? Okay, you know what they're showing me right now? This happened to me about a year ago. I had a friend who turned into an acquaintance, who was a really good friend when we were friends, but then we were rarely talking to each other. They came out of the woodworks, out of nowhere. And this person was always in and out, in and out, in and out. And then finally one day I get this message, and it said, "I'm so sorry. I hope you can forgive me for what I've done to you." And I remember reading that, and I was like, I never expected an apology from this person. Not because I felt like I needed one, but because I just honestly was not in that energy. Like, they owe me an apology. But what ended up happening was I looked at that, and I remember replying, and I said, "You don't have to ask for my forgiveness, because I already forgave you a long time ago." And that was the last message that this person has ever sent to me. And I thought that was really interesting, because I feel like it was a ploy to get attention. Like, oh no, you didn't do anything wrong, like this, that, and the other. But I was so honest about it. I was like, because it was a bad situation what we went through. And there were things that that happened between us. And if you're going to come forward and say, forgive me, I'm going to tell you, I already forgave you, because I did. I had to forgive you to free myself. And it was so funny to me that that person never reached back out. But I feel like that's what, that same energy resides within you, where it's like, if someone were to come through with an apology, you would tell them, I forgave you a long time ago. I'm not even thinking about it no more. And that is intimidating to them, because it's like, oh, I don't live in their mind rent free anymore, because they don't. Right? Because like, I haven't even thought about that since I sent that message, but Source showing me that right now, that's the type of energy that you're in. And so that's what's intimidating about you, is like, people want to live in your mind rent free, but they don't, because you're just moving on. You're healing, you're growing, and you know, I always say healing, willing, and dealing. Okay. We have Ascendant. Take things at face value. Yeah, you're very much in this place where it's like, okay, if that's how you're going to show up, if it's not in alignment with me, then see you later. If it is in alignment with me, let's see where it goes, right? Like, you're just very much, you're not trying to read into things. You're not trying to like put stories with things, right? So let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book for you. Yeah, this is the card that's on the book. It's also on the box. We have the Strength of Vulnerability. The power lies at the root of perceived weakness. I love this, because we were talking about how you were sharing things that you felt like you needed to keep locked up at one point because of guilt, of shame, right? To share those is vulnerable. You're sharing those things now, and you're being vulnerable, and that's so powerful. It says, feelings of vulnerability arise when we are treated as if we are, or we believe ourselves to be, incapable of adequately protecting or providing for ourselves. It may be that we feel somewhat dependent or insecure in a relationship, intimate, social, or familial, professional situation, or place. Our vulnerability presents us with the fears and the uncertainty we need to confront and overcome in our personal development. Therefore, what frightens us can be used as a catalyst to discover our inner resources and the capacity to self-empower and outgrow any perceived limitations. Yes, if we listen to and accept our feelings of weakness and what seems threatening, we can identify effective ways to prepare and learn to support ourselves to survive them, master them, and thrive beyond them. As the maiden, you are the warrior. And wasn't I saying that? The healed warrior? Did I not say that? Oh my gosh. Thank you for that confirmation, Source. Your life experiences and current resources are not random, but perfectly equip you to take on whatever makes you feel vulnerable. Yes, that's why I feel like you're in this energy where things happen for you, not to you. You really believe that. And that's something that intimidates people too, because you're not a victim of life. You're empowered in spite of life. You are at the threshold of realizing your inherent strength. To know what you are capable of involves daring to experience the full spectrum of yourself. This includes exploring what you believe you are not. The maiden encourages you to recognize your vulnerability as a training ground for developing the necessary skills, resources, and support network to gain a sense of self-mastery and strength over any perceived weakness. The maiden's message is, your vulnerability is where you recognize your power. So you left, and when you came back, you were more powerful than ever because you chose to open your heart and explain things that people never thought you would talk about. But instead of sitting here and blaming people about them, you use that as the fuel to share the wisdom that you've gained from those situations. And that's what people find intimidating about you. And honestly, that's actually a pretty cool thing to be intimidating. You know, like, and not that we want to be intimidating, and I talked about that in the intro, but you know, it's a really cool, because it's showing that you're doing the work and you did the right thing for yourself. And how empowering is that? I love that. I love this message for you, pile number 3. So this is what I see here for you. If you feel like this is your reading, leave the little strong arm emoji down below and see it is through my vulnerabilities that I stand stronger than ever, and I get to shine a beacon to the world of self-healing, because I am the healed warrior. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member here on the channel. With that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this incredibly powerful message. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of rose quartz, or if you were drawn to this dice with the sun on it, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on what do people find intimidating about you. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for anybody that is new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. If you are truly new here, we do things completely differently around here, so I just suggest strapping in, hanging on, and we'll find out together. And if the messages resonate along the way, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe down below. With that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out, what do people find intimidating about pile number 3, source? What would you like to share with us today? What do people find intimidating about pile number 3? What would you like to say? What do people find intimidating about pile number 3, source? The sun, this happened in one of the other piles too. The sun came back out. So we've got the 7th house, we've got Capricorn, and the sun. Interesting. How you're able to build relationships is intimidating. Like, you are able to get in there and get the nitty gritty from people. And really what that is like, you're able to get in and have people open up and be honest and vulnerable with you. And you might not even ever ask questions. They might just willingly share this information with you. But I do feel like many of you have learned how to ask the right questions, right? It's never about the right answer. Everybody's always looking for the right answer. But when we realize it's never been about the answer, it's always been about the right question. You learned what the right questions have been or were, and you ask those repeatedly to people, and people are willing to open up and share with you. I do feel like you give back and that you're vulnerable with them as well. But something that people find intimidating about you is how well you just get in there and start building a connection with people, and people are immediately attached to you. They immediately want you to be in their lives for forever, and that is very unusual. Like, maybe they don't trust people, or they feel like they can't trust people, but you're so trusting and just this very bright energy. You're very bright light, like a beacon of hope for them. And I feel like you also are able to really empathize and sympathize with people at their level. Like, you are able to put the shoe on the other foot. So if they've been through something really difficult, maybe you've been through something that mirrors that, and you're able to share that information with them and say, hey, you know, like, I also went through something that was similar to that, and this is what I experienced when I went through that, but this is what I've also learned from that. And people are intimidated by that because they've never met someone who's been able to hear, understand, see, acknowledge, and recognize them. And you do all those things. And so there's a level of awe, but there's also a level of, oh my goodness, what do I do? And so that comes from you being able to understand what you've gone through and see it as, you know, when we talk about the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly, all parts of those things are equally amazing if we allow them to be. But many people, they believe that the only good ones there are to experience are the good and the beautiful, right? And the ugly and the bad are bad, right? We label them as awful. We label them as something we want to miss out on. We don't want to go through those things. But if we missed out on the difficulties in life, we wouldn't be as well-rounded as we are. And you are someone who embodies that, being well-rounded in all aspects of life. And you're able to really put yourself in other people's shoes. And yes, it has this huge admiration that comes with it. But it's also very scary because people feel like you see them down to the pits of their soul, the parts of themselves that they have forever gone out of their way to hide. And that is something that is very intimidating to them. Why they find you intimidating. Wow. Alright, so for pile number 3, source, why do people find pile number 3 intimidating? Yeah, they're always wondering what you think of them. And I feel like if you know, they ever found out, not that you do, okay, but if they ever found out that you thought terribly of them, it would just crush them. And I feel like you don't really think terribly about people. It's like not on your mind at all. I feel you're just mainly focused on what you can do for yourself, what you can do to grow, what you can do to help, how you can bring healing, how you can bring love and compassion to the world, how you can bring, like, networking is another thing that's coming in. Like, your ability to network is very intimidating as well. You maybe have a network of friends that exist around the globe, not just in your neighborhood. And that can be very intimidating to people because it's like, wait, how did you meet someone that's on the other side of the world? And for you, it was never a big deal. It might be through your work. It might just be in life in general. Like maybe you learned another language and you wanted to talk to native speakers in that language. And so you made a friend from France, or you made a friend from, you know, I don't know, Russia or something like that, right? And so that it was just your life led you to that. So that's another thing that people find intimidating about you. What do people find intimidating about pile number 3, source? What do people find intimidating about pile number 3? What would you like to share with us? Whoa, thank you. Almost went off the table. What do people find intimidating about pile number 3, source? Okay, thank you. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Yeah. Death and rebirth. You very, very quickly shed old skin. So people who are around you, even for a short time, they recognize massive change within you all the time. Like, say they've known you for a year, and in that year you've shifted so much, but they physically have seen that shift. Because you're always letting go of things. You're always having these deaths and these rebirths, these emotional egos. You're letting go of the emotional ego within you, and you're allowing the rebirth to be very natural, right? It's a very natural process for you, and that is intimidating to a lot of people because they are like, oh, I'm a master at shadow work, and you're like, I'm not a master at anything. I'm just doing the best that I can. And they're over there in their ego about it. And you are just like in that energy of like, only a fool thinks they know everything. And I admit I know nothing. And that really intimidates them because you're this person that plays ignorance. And it's not really ignorance. It's just, I know that there's so much more to learn. That's really what it is. And people see it as ignorance, and yet somehow you have far surpassed them on their own journey. So there's a lot of people that look up to you for what you do. Again, I feel like there's a lot of awestruck people here on your reading. But a lot of these people that are awestruck by you are also incredibly intimidated by you because you are practicing what you preach. You're not just staying stuck at one level. And there's this constant disintegration of the old and integration of the new. And you are only keeping what's essential to your journey. And every time you see something that may be a shadow trait, you face it head on. And that is intimidating to people because, like, say you have a moment where you have a totally human moment, which we all do, right? That's why we're human. We're going to have human moments. But say you, I don't know, you get really upset about something and you blow up, and you don't mean to blow up, right? You haven't blown up, and you blow up and you're like, oh my gosh, like I haven't done that in a long time. Like, whoa, what is happening to me right now? And instead of blaming whoever's involved, you go away, you spend some time in solitude, you really work through this, like, whoa, why did I blow up? Like, what was this triggering? What was going on with this? And journaled about it and felt into it and was like, okay, holy crap. And then you might have come back and you might have been like, look, I'm really sorry I blew up. That was totally out of character for me. I understand why I blew up now, and I understand the purpose behind it. And so this is what I learned about myself. And the people who were involved are sitting there like, what? Because you're taking accountability for yourself. You never blamed them for what, they played a part in, because you're like you're thinking that if I can do this, then they can do this too. They have to figure it out on their own. And it leaves them baffled, but they're also incredibly intimidated by it, because it means that you're unbothered by anything. And so the next time that someone might try to push those same buttons, because you immediately integrated the shadow at that moment, there is no button left to push. Wow. A lot to do with shadow work on this reading. We've got the Five of Swords in the reverse. We've got the Knight of Coins in reverse, and we've got the 10 of Swords also in reverse. Yeah. There's a lot of negativity around you, and it's almost like you have to be in this energy for a while. It's not something that you're naturally meant to live in. Like, you're not supposed to be in negativity for your whole life or anything. But I feel like it's intimidating, because regardless of how negative and down people are around you, Pile 3, you're still this very calm, centered, collected person. But also with this much negativity around you, it's not surprising. Like, if that story resonated with you, where maybe you blew up or you lost yourself in a moment, it's not surprising that that would happen. We're still, when you're put in a pressurized situation, pressure creates diamonds. And you get to turn into diamonds, or you can crumble. And you've chosen to turn into the diamond that you are. And so you're becoming hardened in a spiritual sense by the situation that you're in. And that's also intimidating, because it's like I said, people are trying to push those buttons that they once did, where they knew they could get a rise out of you, and now they can't. And that's intimidating to them, because they're like in this energy of, oh my gosh, I cannot phase pile number 3. So this is people that you might know, or people who just are very much living in their shadow, and they're used to getting a reaction from people. There are some people out there who really enjoy getting a reaction. It's all about me telling you something completely absurd just to get your reaction. So somebody might come in and tell you some absurd story that they heard, or that they saw, or that they witnessed, or whatever. And you're listening. You say, wow, that sounds intense. But before, you might have been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Like, what did you do? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? What about that? And you're not like that anymore. And it is intimidating to them, because you have changed before their eyes. And for many of you, I feel like you've changed right away before their eyes. What we see here with the Five of Swords in the reverse, this is negativity, being surrounded by negativity. And feeling like you can't be removed from that negativity right now, right? You've been trying to change the situation. This could be family, this could be friends, this could be a job that you have, this could be a position at work. There's a lot of negativity, and it's a lot of heavy situations going on around you. And yet, you're still moving forward spiritually. And so the people who are in this negative energy, who are caught in their mind, misery loves company. So whether they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally, we're not really looking into that right now. But it's about the fact that they're intimidated, because you're not joining in the fun of misery, right? Because you've stepped beyond that. And there's this energy where you're being attacked from many people. And you've been humiliated by a lot of people here. You've been humiliated by people who thought who you thought loved you. And yet, at the end of the day, it's like no matter how much you thought they loved you, you had to learn that there was something else involved here, right? And these could be people who are constantly in the pursuit of money. They could be trying to feign material stability. This is someone or a group of people who are living this big life without having the means to back it up. And they're expecting you to cover them. They're expecting you to pick up the pieces. Wow, this just got really deep all of a sudden. And yet you're over here busy changing yourself and working on yourself. Your job is to carry you on your shoulders, and you're doing that. There's a lot of emotional exhaustion here. There's a lot of mental anguish that's happened in this situation. And you have taken it and you've somehow turned dust into gold. And you're making it work for you. And a lot of these people here have this idea of who you're supposed to be, but you're not fitting into that anymore. And they're intimidated by you because of it, because your energy is ever growing. Yeah, a lot of people here felt like all you wanted was attention, right? You just wanted people to approve of you or, you know, see you, to validate you. And that's not at all what it was. And maybe at one point it was. Maybe you were a people pleaser and in this energy at one point. But we see here it's something you've continually worked on cutting out. You've hacked it out of your system. Your system's on hijack from your spirit right now. And that's intimidating because now you're doing something different. And it's not surprising, many of the, actually, I feel like all three of these piles are people that you know. It's not new people coming in being intimidated. Because I feel like when new people come in, they're in this energy here. They're very much like in this state of awe, and they're so taken aback by you. But there is a sense of intimidation as well, because you absolutely can pinpoint who they are right away. Your level of discernment is out of this world. And you might be very psychic as well. But I feel like this energy here is a person that's in your energy. It's either a group of people around you, or it's people who've known you for a certain amount of time, and they've watched as you have grown. And there might be someone here who's trying to push buttons, and you come back in this very diplomatic energy. You come back in this very diplomatic way that it's like conflict resolution the first time around, one and done. And there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can say. But also when you do have a moment of being human and not being in your own energy because you're constantly getting pressure from all sides, you also come back and you're ready and willing to say, hey, I'm sorry for my actions in this. I'm realizing a lot about myself right now, and I was just under a lot of pressure, and that's why I did what I did. When you're taking accountability for your actions, and that's really admirable. And not everybody's willing to do that. So that also makes you intimidating to some people because they're not willing to do that for themselves, right? Or there's an energy where you have shown up diplomatic in a situation where someone went off the rails, and your way of showing up actually made them see their own actions in the situation, and they came forward to apologize to you. And for you, it wasn't about the apology. It was about you taking steps to be your highest vibration and in alignment with yourself. And there's an intimidation here because you saw through them. You called them out on it, and now they're coming through and they're like, wow, I am sorry, I was in the wrong. But they're doing the adult thing, right? And the adult thing is to apologize. That's what normal adults would do if we were healed, but we're not healed. And so there's a whole group of people who aren't taking accountability for themselves. And it's frustrating, right? Because if you hurt someone, we should apologize. That's just something that we should do naturally. It should be something that is is an instinct to us, and it's not. It's become instinct to run and hide in fear, or to laugh about it and move on like it didn't matter, you know. And there's various different reactions to it, but the natural instinct of, wow, I should take accountability for myself, is what's rare. Libra, consideration, fairness, and harmony. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You're very diplomatic, right? You're very much of this Libra energy. Wouldn't surprise me if you had Libra in the 10th house, or Libra in the 12th house as well, or you were ascendant Libra rising. Yeah, but you're very diplomatic. You weigh the odds, and the odds never deter you from making sound decisions. You listen to your intuition, you follow your gut, and you do what you feel is best for your highest good. And you're also not out to get people, and that seems intimidating to people as well, because even if they're like knowingly trying to hurt you, you're still not trying to do an eye for an eye. You basically turn the other cheek, but you turn the other cheek, and on the other cheek is a whole lot of justice, because you're coming forth in a very balanced, diplomatic way. We have Magic Guardian here with Unlock the Magic Within. You're a very magical person. There's a lot of good luck that happens in your life, and a lot of blessings and miracles that happen around you, and that's also what people find intimidating about you. Almost like you have God's favor, or Source's favor, or the universe's favor. Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. But yeah, you're just a very loving person. You were so kind and generous, and I feel like people are too busy being intimidated by you, right? There's still this state of awe, like, wow, they can resonate with anyone and everything. Like, you're able to put the shoe on the other foot. We said that, and there's this energy where it's like a lot of people are intimidated by you, but they're missing out on just how kind and loving you are. And people who see that, they do come forward. Look at this. This confirms exactly what I was feeling. We have clouds shape-shifting. This is the change card, right? This is Aquarius energy in this deck. And this card talks about how, you know, you're shape-shifting, how you're constantly changing, and it's okay to change. Just don't lose yourself. And that's exactly what you've been doing, is like you're constantly changing. You're not losing yourself, but rather you're finding yourself. And that's such a powerful place to be at. Wow. I love that confirmation, Source. Thank you. All right. Peace, gorilla. Look at this image. At one time I was in North Carolina, and the sky looked exactly like this. It was just a moment. Like, when you have presence in a period like that, where the sky is absolutely stunning, it felt like it went on for ages. Like, I was stuck there for ages, but not stuck. Just at peace. Like, it's the perfect place the perfect word for it. And I feel like this is the place you live in. You reside in a place of peace all the time. Right? Like, you're just very serene, and people look up to you because of that. But you're also not wearing a mask, and you're also not going to battle, right? You're trying to find the higher ground. You're trying to come at this from a higher ground. Know your worth with Skunk Spirit. Yeah, you know your value, you know your worth. And you also are teaching people how to treat you, with you being in that diplomatic state, that ability to speak your truth, but from a way that's still compassionate. You're not out here trying to cut people down. You're out here trying to show people the truth. And when they think, oh no, I've got pile number 3's number, I know exactly what's going to get them, it always comes back around and bites them in the rear. Turn knowledge into wisdom. Exactly. This is exactly what you're doing. And this is intimidating, because you're learning things from situations that are happening, and you're integrating that right away, and you're making the most out of that. And that's why people, that's what they find intimidating about you. Okay, wow. On the bottom, we have Father. Interesting. So we have talent for creating and supporting life. A positive guiding light within a tribal unit. Did I not say at the beginning you're like a beacon to people? I love that confirmation. We have the shadow is dictatorial control and abuse of authority. So you may very well appear as healing the father wound within people. Okay? Which means that you're giving constructive criticism in a way that's very compassionate. It's like, hey, you're not doing a bad thing. Try this. Maybe this will work out better for you. You know, that's what the healed father does for us. The healed father encourages us and is always there to catch us when we fall, but also to push us and to push us so that we'll become the best version of ourselves. Not in a harsh way, though. Not in a dictatorial way, right? That dictatorial control. Not in a controlling way either. They're really there to help us see our value and our worth. And so for you, pile 3, you may very well be stepping up into this father-like energy, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman or whatever you identify with. None of that matters. This is an energy that you're embodying, especially with the sun coming out here. The sun is the father of the planets, and you know, God, Father, Son. And so there's this energy where you're shining a light on the things that people don't want to take accountability for. And that's intimidating because now there's no other place for them to run from because it's already been shown in the light. On the bottom, we have water. Let the feelings flow. Yeah, and you're also able to share pieces of yourself, very vulnerable pieces of yourself. Very tapped into your third eye, very tapped into your psychic abilities. Very tapped into the spiritual realm. We have balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. Wasn't I saying that? Like, people, they judge you really harshly, but that you're not judging them. Like, they want to live in your mind rent-free. Wasn't I saying that on your pile? I'm pretty sure I was saying that on your pile just a few minutes ago. And you're just without judgment. You're like, no, basically, I'm going to look at this and see what it's doing for me, and is it in alignment with me? What do I need to take from this? And it's not about judging where another person's coming from. It's literally about you knowing your worth and saying, okay, if this isn't in alignment with me, then I'm going to leave. But if it is in alignment with me, then I can continue to build this. You know, people knowing that you're bringing this balance into relationships as well, this very harmonious energy that's overwhelming because you're able to get people to open up so fast. North Node, destined to have. You're walking in your path of purpose, and that is intimidating. That is intimidating. Whatever your 10th house is, you could have 10th house in Aquarius, Taurus, Gemini, Scorpio, Capricorn, Libra, Aries. That's what I'm hearing right now. Dreamtime creation. So why people find you intimidating is because you're literally creating the life you've always dreamed of. It's happening around you, and maybe you know that, maybe you don't know that, right? But you're working towards that, is helping to manifest that right now. Cycles, hair, yeah. So you've cleared out a lot of cyclical situations and patterns and toxic behaviors and thoughts that were lingering in the darkness, and you've cleared that out. Liberator, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs. Thank you, Source, for that immediate confirmation. Releasing negative thought patterns, and the shadow is imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. Yeah, you're helping to liberate people. And some people are incredibly grateful for this, and there are some people who are incredibly intimidated by it as well, because again, when you shine the light on the darkness, you see the shadows were not as mean or as scary as they were, because now the light's on them, right? But sometimes people don't want to see that. Storytelling. Ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. The shadow here is making up tales that harm others. So you use your experience as a way for you to share stories from the divine and to share symbols and help connect with people in a very unique way. Indecision. This came out in another pile. So I use my intuition in all aspects of life. Yeah, you're incredibly intuitive, and you are in this place of being very decisive about what you want. And also, I just want to say, if you watched all 3 piles, if you spent the whole reading with me today, leave a purple heart down below. That's for my Purple Heart Club, for those of you that spend piles 1, 2, and 3 with me. I truly do appreciate it. And even if you didn't, I just thank you for being here. It truly means the world to me. And then the last card we have here is the solar eclipse. Watch doors of opportunity swing open. So people are intimidated by you because they feel like life happens for you so easily. And you've just come so far that now things are working out in your favor, right? It just takes time. And some people, they don't want to wait that time. They want things to be so instantaneous because we're in an instantaneous society, and they expect, oh, I'm going to log in today and tomorrow I'm going to have all my dreams right at my front door. But that's not how it works, right? It's not to say that we can't get to that point. But if you have a lot of things that you have yet to work through, we can only attract what we're vibrating at. And most people don't let go of all that junk overnight. It takes years of practice and patience and consistency. Distorted perceptions. We have reality is rarely what we are raised to believe it is. Interesting. Says how we experience the world changes throughout life. Such shifts in perception typically occur when an event, a person, a place, or a new life stage leaves us questioning something integral to what had been our understanding of the world or ourselves. That's what I was saying. Like, you make people question where they're at, and that intimidates people. Consequently, our perception and thinking shifts irreversibly and changes how we experience our reality. The maiden's expression is calm, accepting as she observes the world without the distorted lens of the feathered tent. The tent represents the outdated cultural, ancestral, and social conditioning she is awakened from. She stands firm and in the solemn awe of the wisdom revealed in her newfound worldview. All that she had been raised to believe about the world and herself no longer applies. She sees beyond how limited and false certain aspects of her perception and understanding had been. With this new perspective and clarity, it is now possible for her to grow beyond, rather than blindly repeat the intergenerational patterns, fears, and false beliefs that would otherwise have had a deterring effect on the life she would go on to live. A sophisticated shift in consciousness will soon be made available to you. Initially, seeing things differently may feel alienating or even like a betrayal or a great loss. It may present initial challenges in what to do with and about this new perspective, especially if you had envisioned for your life, what you had envisioned for your life is dramatically altered as a result. The maiden assures you that any confusion, grief, or upheaval from releasing distorted perceptions or limiting beliefs will eventually open into amazing opportunities, remarkable growth, and increase in self-sovereignty. Maiden's message is power, beauty, and liberation happen when we do not close our eyes or retreat back into the mentality we have outgrown. So that's the thing, like, you're a living embodiment of those integration moments where you've integrated the learning and the lessons from it. You can't go back. And many people, once they learn and they don't like what they've learned, they want to go back, but you can't go back once you know the knowledge, right? So you've chosen to embrace that and embody that as you move, and that's why people find you intimidating. Oh, excuse me. This was an incredible reading. This is what I see here for you, pile number 3. If you feel like this was your reading, leave the little bunny emoji down below and say, as I see through eyes of truth, I relinquish the power that was held over me from old toxic patterns, thoughts, and behaviors, knowing that my world is clear and free. And if it resonated with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It has everything you need, including how to reach me for a personal reading, as well as how to join as a member on the channel. And with that, I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for giving us this incredible reading. I'm truly honored to have connected with you in this way, pile number 3. And until next time, stay human. Bye.